Hello, everyone. Hope you can all hear me. If you can't, could you first check that your volume is on? And if no one can hear me, then please, everyone, say in the. Or you won't be able to chat or talk, but you will be able to use the chat box. Okay, I'm too quiet, so I'll try speak up. How is it now? I'll see if I can adjust my settings to make it louder. Okay, how about now? Is it better? Okay, so I've adjusted my speaker so that it should be hearing me as much as it can. Is this working? Can people hear? Okay, better. And I will try to speak up. Uh, Good. And everyone can see the screen okay? Good, good. All right, so I think everyone should be here by now. We might have a few stragglers, but they'll be able to catch up, I'm sure. So thanks for signing up to this webinar. This is the second of our weekly Thursday afternoon webinars put in place due to the lockdown. So we're doing these every Thursday at 4 o'clock. I believe the next two are booked out, but if you're interested in joining us again, we'll be doing them again in May, and we'll announce the schedule for that soon. So keep an eye on the mailing list or on social media or wherever you get your Layers of London news. So today we'll be talking about using our collection of map layers and just seeing what's available and how to make the most of the collection. My name is Liam. I'm the volunteer coordinator for Layers of London, and also here is Adam Corsini, our public engagement officer, and he's going to be monitoring the questions and answers and the chat. So feel free to. I'll try to pick up on those as well, but feel free to put in questions at any time, and then we'll also have time for questions at the end. So I think the map collection is kind of one of the primary reasons that Layers London is such a great resource. We have, as you can see them flashing before your eyes right now, we have a collection of these big maps like this bomb damage map, and we have the Booth map and a few other well-known maps that they were available to view on other websites beforehand and can be seen in lots of places. But I think it's really good that they're all here on the one resource so that we can have them all in one place and compare and contrast. And really, I think one of the goals of Layers of London is to demonstrate how the city has changed over time. So being able to look at them all in the one place is great for that. And in addition to these kind of these big flagship maps, we've been collaborating with local borough archives across London for the past few years, trying to get some of their collections digitized and georeferenced. So we have a lot of kind of more rare and local small maps available to view online for the first time. And then final category of our maps that we'll see is data sets, which I think make more sense once you see them than when I'm talking about them. But say people who've done research, location-based research on various topics have given us their results, and we've been able to plot them on Layers of London for people to view. But we'll come to that in a few minutes. So I'll just navigate us to the map section of the site. I'm sure you've all been on Layers of London before, but you might notice that we've had a snazzy new redesign, which hopefully will make the whole thing a bit easier to use and easier to find the different resources that we have. So yeah, this is the map page, the main part of the site. So as you can see here, Besides the map layers that we have these crowdsourced histories that people have added. So a lot of these say, like, we have collections of London pubs, punk London, coffee shops of Georgian London that people have added, and then lots of just individual records as well that show up on this side panel, but we'll just get rid of that for today because our main focus is going to be the map. And the records also show up as squares on map, so you can see them here. So if you're interested in the history of a particular area, you can navigate to that area and see what people have added. So these black boxes are individual records that people have added. I'm sure you've all seen these before, but just to reiterate for anyone who's new. So someone has added this. London Metropolitan Archives actually have added this. So this photo of Loughborough Estate and a bit of a description. So there's thousands of those out there, and these dark blue markers, these are for collections. So if you click on this, everything else will disappear and just show you what's in that collection, which is only 2 records about pubs in SW12. But for today, we'll get rid of the black marker so we can see the map clearly. And to do that, you can go to this layer tools panel that's in the bottom left-hand corner and just click hide records. So we can see London in all its grandeur without anything blocking the way. So to choose the layers, so we have this basic layer, so it's like what you would see on Google Maps, and that would show London as it is today in the street layout. But to get to our historic map layers, you can either go here, choose new layers, or to this button in the left-hand panel, layers. And that brings you to our layer directory. So as I was saying earlier, we have a few different categories: London maps, borough maps, and data sets. So the London maps are what cover a wide area of London. But obviously, the further you go back, when London was smaller, it covers a narrow area. They all cover, say, the city and Westminster, and then over time, as London expanded, so do these maps cover a wider area. And then this borough maps section, so we've introduced this to help people find their particular area or a particular area they're interested in. So say this is particularly useful for people interested in outer boroughs. So not all of those main London maps will cover, say, Merton or Redbridge, but if you go to these sections, you'll be able to see all the maps that do cover those areas, and also you'll be able to see those local maps that we've gotten from archives around London. So that's very useful for people who are interested in a particular area rather than London as a whole. And then we have, as I said here, data sets, and we'll have a look at that a bit more in a while. But I'll just bring up a few maps just to show you the features and kind of the variety of maps that we have. So yeah, it goes back all the way to medieval London. So I'll bring this one up. And to do that, you just click on it and scroll down to use this layer. It will change a little. Oh yeah, so it's the tick. So that one is now enabled. And you can enable several at a time. In theory, you could enable all of them at a time, but because these are such data heavy files, your computer might collapse if you put them all up. So we recommend maybe 4, 5, 6, depending. But I'll just bring up a couple just to show you what we can do with them. Jumping ahead a few hundred years, go to this one. So then once you've selected the maps you want to see, you click I'm done, and we're back. So I've loaded up a couple of them now. So as you can, I've zoomed out too far. So they're all up now, but just I want to see, say I want to see that first one I put up, the medieval London map. I can go down to this layer tools panel again, and I can hide these ones that are on top of it by clicking this eye symbol, makes them disappear. So yeah, London, a lot smaller back in medieval times. So yeah, this is showing London as it was in between 1270 and 1300. So obviously this is not an actual historic map. This is being created by the Historic Towns Trust. So based on research that people have done over the, I don't know, however long, research people have done, it shows the street layout and buildings that we know were there back in the medieval period. So we actually had someone tweet at us this morning, I think, saying they were using layers for their research, and seeing this map, they recognized the outline of the square mile streets immediately, and that they think it hasn't changed hardly at all. But luckily, we'll be able to test that theory later once we load up a few more maps and we can compare and contrast the street layout from the different maps over time. So yeah, you can zoom in quite close, see what is written on the map. So then I'll just bring up the next one from the mid 1500s. So I click the I button, and this is the Agas map. It's a woodcut. I don't think this is actually one of the few maps that hasn't been geo-referenced on the site, because apparently it's not possible, because it's not like a traditional map as we see. It's kind of more of a bird's eye view than a top-down level, so you can see like the sides of buildings, which we usually can't in a normal map that we have today, or from the maps that we have later, the later maps that we have. But this is a really interesting map as well, showing London as it was 500-ish years ago. We use this one a lot in schools. I think kids are always interested to see it. I think it's great to show how the city has changed. Like say with London Bridge, if they're familiar with London Bridge, you might ask them what's changed, and we don't have all these buildings on it anymore. And also how it's the only bridge that is on the river depicted in this map, and was for a long time after that, I think. So apparently it used to take a long time to cross. They also like to see that just outside these city walls were people practicing archery, that there was cows, people, I think, drying clothes or drying leather or something in more fields. I think it's also very interesting to show how the names of places in London have been around for so long, and say like how Bishopsgate and Aldgate a bit down the road, that they have their names because they were originally gates into London. But anyway, that's enough rambling about this map. I'll bring up, what do we have next? Oh yeah, so this is the rock 10-mile round London map from the mid 18th century. So as you can see, it covers a much wider area than what we've seen already. Although, as you can see, it's just London in the middle, and then a lot of fields around the way. So this is really good for seeing some of the bits in the outer boroughs. I don't know if anyone wants to put in the chat box an area that they're interested in, and we can navigate to that and we can see a bit of what this map covers. So it doesn't reach as far as Edgware or Sutton, but oh yeah, Wandsworth. Let's have a look. So yeah, to find a location on the map, you can go up to this top right-hand corner and type in where you want to go. And it will bring you to Wandsworth. Yeah, so we can see that Wandsworth was kind of a small settlement at the time on the river, but Um, then we can go out a bit, and I think it's very interesting to see that it was all fields. That's what most of these places were, fields. But not far from Hampton Court around there. Oh no, that's a bit further out. But yeah, it's a great way to kind of get a sense of what London was like at the time. And oh yeah, I'm reading Wolf Hall at the moment. I think it's interesting because it starts in Putney, and how Putney is considered real backwater, and they have to walk for days. Well, they definitely didn't, but walk for ages to get into London, or to take the boat down the river, which would also take a long time. So we have more suggestions in the chat. Called Hackney around Regent Street. But we don't have time right now. But this is here for you to have a look at and explore, and covers a lot of areas of London. So then I'll just bring up the last one of these big maps that I brought up. So this is, so these are, looks a bit of a mess when you're zoomed out, but these are all individual RAF images that were aerial images that were taken after World War II. So it was a big project to take aerial pictures all around Britain and kind of survey the damage that took place during the war and the changes that took place due to the rapidly changing society. So this is a project we've been running. So you can kind of see a lot of them. You can see these edges. So these are all individual images that we georeferenced. So, and members of the public georeferenced. You might have seen the project, or you might have done a bit of it yourself. So they're all photographs that we had to do individually and had to check individually, and now they are being stitched together in this big mosaic, which is going to be a new map of London because they've never been put together before. They've always been just individual images in archive, but now we're putting it all together and creating this new map of London. So you can see that there's some gaps in it at the moment. It's because we're still working through some of these images. But we have volunteer reviewers checking all the georeferencing that's been done, and once they're checked, this mosaic gets updated automatically. So it's quite amazing to watch it grow. I'm actually surprised right now at how big it is, because last time I checked was before the long weekend, and it was considerably more gaps. So keep an eye on this, and if your area isn't covered by it now, there's a good chance it will be in the near future. So now I just want to show you, if I can find, so it's good to see all these maps, but it's also great to be able to compare and contrast them. That's what we like to do, is to see how London has changed over time. So what we can do is, oops. So we can test the theory of that guy who said that the square mile street layout hadn't changed at all. So we can fade these maps in and out. So if you see these sliders next to those I buttons that we used earlier, you can fade in and out. So you can compare how it is, and it looks like he was right. That this is Cheapside and Poultry, so we jump back from mid-20th century to the mid-18th century, and then we can jump back again to our medieval map and see street layout is very similar. So yeah, you can do this with all the maps we have. So it's great if you're, say, comparing two different time periods. You can check, you can have them half faded in and see both maps kind of at the same time, to be able to compare. And you can also, you can drag the map if you want the other one to come up before it. You should be able to do that anyway. Yeah, so you can just drag that map and it'll pop up above. So whatever is on top here will be on top on the map. So on the top above, and then you can do the same thing with comparing like that. So that's just some of the things you can do with different maps. And I'm just going to jump back into the layer directory to see if we can have a look at some of those smaller maps I mentioned earlier. So 4 layers currently selected, so you can clear them. And then they disappear off the map. And then we'll have a look. So someone said they want to see Hackney. So we'll have a look there. It's not working for some reason. I'm going to close that down. Yeah, so as I said earlier, this shows all the maps that cover Hackney, and also it shows these maps that we got from Hackney Borough Archives. So they come in a package, so you just use this layer and that'll turn on all those maps at the same time. So yeah, these are all the maps that we've received from Hackney Borough Archives. And as you can see, there's maybe 10 or so, and they all come together like this. So you can do the same thing where you fade them in and out, or if you can see that there's a particular area that you're interested in. So I live in St. Leonard's Parish, I think. So I can turn off all the other maps and just have a look at St. Leonard's Parish because that's what I want to know about. I live around here, if anyone wants to come visit. So yeah, so we have these kind of maps from lots of different local boroughs. We're trying to get them all. I think, I don't know how many we have now, maybe between 10 and 15, but it's one of the goals of the project to have local maps from all the different boroughs. And some are in progress, so we've received some already and we're in the process of digitizing them. And some we're still trying to chase them up and get them to add their content. But we've been very pleased with how enthusiastic the local borough archives have been with in collaborating with us, because I think it's a great way to be able to see all these different maps that have been hidden away in different places, hidden away in different places in dusty drawers in different libraries, but now can be all seen together in one place. And so just show some of those data sets we were talking about earlier. Just close this down and go to this data set section. So yeah, as I was saying, this is, I'll load up this one. So this is Archaeology of Greater London MOLA. So I think someone was saying it'd be good to see how we go further back and get maps from beyond that early map we have from medieval London, and we would love to add earlier maps, and we're in the process of adding ones all the time. But this data set will actually kind of cover, so Adam, maybe I'll ask you to explain this because I'm not too sure about it. I'm going to unmute you, Adam. I hope this isn't too surprising. Adam?
Hi everyone. Hi Liam.
Hi.
So yeah, this is quite a large data set that was supplied by Museum of London Archaeology. And perhaps Liam, if you could turn off the records, thanks. And if we take off each of the coloured sets that we've got up at the moment, one by one, we can see that we're removing the boulder clay and the brick earth, the chalk, so on and so forth. So there's quite a lot to do with geology and the geology of London in this section. And then perhaps if you could switch on the Roman infrastructure.
Mhm.
And the Roman infrastructure one halfway down.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So although it doesn't show a map of Roman London in the same sense as that medieval map with a huge amount of detailed information, if we zoom into this, we are able to see how today's city of London very much is based around Londinium and the Roman city, and then the roads running outside of the city. And I believe that if we hover over one area, and we've also got some fine spots with the little dots here, if we hover over something, perhaps that circle in the middle, which should be the amphitheatre, our mouse changes. Oh, it's not doing what I thought, but it should give you a little bit of information. Perhaps if we hover over one of those dots, that's it, that little dot there. It tells you a little bit about what that fine spot or what that area relates to. So here's the area of the Roman barracks. And you can, with using this layer, you can do the same for medieval Saxon London too.
Mhm. Yeah. Great. Okay, will I meet you again, Adam?
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
See you.
Special guest. Yep, so that's just one of the data sets we have. And I'll just clear that one and see what else we have. So say this one, transport networks. You can see the tube. So I think this is people find this quite interesting to see, to compare it with the schematic tube map that we're all familiar with, to see where it actually goes and what streets it goes under. So that's interesting. We're currently working with a project who are trying to map all the vents in London. They're a charity called Our Hut, architecture education charity. So this has been very useful for them to find where the tube goes and see if they can find any vents associated with tube. And then there's also these other ones associated with this data set. So canals. So that's with the canal. Canal bridges. All kinds of things. Yeah. And I'll just show you one more. So say this is the London of Charles Dickens. So these show you all the locations of that Charles Dickens mentions in his novels and short stories, and then if you click on them, it'll tell you when it was mentioned. So yeah, these Roman baths were mentioned in David Copperfield, chapter 35, and a little description of what happened. So you can also, if you're interested in a particular book, you can see them all here. So you can turn off this main one and then say you're only interested in Nicholas Nickleby, and the locations from Nicholas Nickleby will show up as little dots. And this is a good one to combine with another layer. Say you can find a map from that period. So you could say load up the Charles Booth poverty maps from late 19th century, and then you can see those dots. Well, they're red, so I'll just turn on a different contrasting color. Oh yeah, I know what's happening. They're underneath this one, so you have to drag it. Okay, the computer is humming away, working furiously, so it might be getting tired. But yeah, if you change that map to half, you can see them underneath. Um, and then it's interesting to see the places you mentioned alongside the map from the time that he's talking about. So that's just a way that the data sets can uh, cooperate with the maps that we have. And yeah, there's just a lot. There's lots to explore. So make sure you set aside some time to have a look at all the different data sets and the different maps and different boroughs that we have on the site. Um, so I think that's all I have to show, but I am happy to demonstrate anything again or answer any questions. If people want to put any questions in the chat box, please do so. Okay, that finally worked. Who have been your main users of this so far? I think it's kind of all kinds of people. We're hoping to aim the website to all Londoners because I think, and people beyond London as well, I think a lot of people will be interested in this. I think that whenever we show the maps at events, people are always kind of captivated by them, no matter who they are. People love to see what their street looks like 100 years ago or more. People are often always surprised to find that their street even existed, say, 200 years ago, or that it had the same name, or that they recognized all the same places. Um, but I think we work with all kinds of people. We work with lots of community groups, so um, people who are involved with their local archives or libraries, but also we work with children in schools and we work with all kinds of people. It's hard to say who's the biggest user. Um, can you show how to get back to the homepage again? Yes, we'll do. So once you're on this map page, you can click this logo in the top left-hand corner, and that'll bring you back to the homepage. And there's other resources on the homepage that I hadn't mentioned. So the help center is very useful if you're having a look around and there's anything you're confused by. This might have the answers, like frequently asked questions and some user guides. Get involved. We have some information about our upcoming events, all webinars at the moment. If you missed last week's webinar, you can have a look on YouTube, and we'll be putting this one on YouTube as well. And we have a blog, which are the news and with other kind of bits and pieces. Do I need any special permission to use maps in my academic research? Nope. These are, everything that's on the website is Creative Commons. So if you want to use it for an academic piece, it's fair use. So you can use a screenshot or use, screenshot of it, as long as you credit where you got it from and that, and cite the Creative Commons license, I believe. How long are you funded for? So we're currently our funding period is up until September. So we're furiously working to make sure we've met all our objectives for the project at the moment. But the site will be around for a lot longer than that. It's guaranteed at least for the next 5 years, and there'll be people employed by the Institute of Historical Research keeping it up and running. And we're also hoping, we're in the process of looking for more funding to be able to continue our public engagement program. So we're not going anywhere. What kind of contributions do you want? 1960s photos, for example? Yeah, that's definitely, we love photographs. I think the best records are ones that are visual as well as having information in them. And I think say if they are personal photographs, that's something we're really trying to encourage people to add. Uh, we want kind of things that you can't find in other places, like in archives or in libraries. I think a lot of people have really interesting historical artifacts in their own home. Um, so we're very encouraging for people to add photographs from their collection. But also, if you're interested in um, anything, um, fishing in Tudor times, and you want to do some research on that, it would be great to have records like that up as well. What kind of, can you print from the website? There's no print option on the website, but if you take a screenshot or you can print that, but it's not directly built into the website. What other maps are you hoping to introduce in the near future? So yeah, I think the main maps that we have in that London map section or kind of what the project envisaged adding at the beginning. So these kind of big maps. But what we're working on at the moment is adding local borough maps more. And if people have data sets that would be suitable for the website, we're also very interested in adding those. Can anyone create a new collection? Yes, you can. If you're signed up for next week's webinar, that will be all about making records and collections. But that will be on YouTube as well, so you'll be able to see that even if you're not signed up. And if you want to get started right away, in that help center I showed, you can get to from the home page. In the help center, there's information on how to add collections in there. And that's great. Yeah, I think actually that's one of the most interesting things about the RAF maps is how much of London was allotments at the time. Maybe we're heading back in that direction now. I think a lot of people are busy on their allotments these days. How does it work with copyright and images that people post with records? So that is, yeah, like I said earlier, it's the Creative Commons license. So when things are put up on the website, they are being labeled as fair use. You can reuse them as long as for a good reason and you cite the Creative Commons license. For more details about that, I think you can find down here. So if you click through to that link, so we ask anyone who's adding a record to make sure that it's they're entitled to use it. So I think we're almost out of time. So unless anyone has any last minute questions, we'll leave it there. And I hope it was interesting and that you'll use the website and find fun things on the maps. Thanks, everyone. All right, thanks, everyone. I hope you all have a nice evening and enjoy. Bye.